Hello YouTube. I've got the right front wheel off of this old Dodge Intrepid, and what we are looking at right now is a neglected maintenance item on these cars. In this case, the front differential fluid. They're rarely ever checked. A lot of people think that the differential and the transaxle are lubricated with the same oil on these cars, but they are not. There's actually gear lube that goes into the differential housing. The first thing you want to do is the fill plug. You want to loosen that. It'll take a 1 1/16 socket. I usually use a chrome one because there's just not a lot of access space here for a larger socket. And then from here, we'll try to loosen it with a breaker bar. So hopefully I can oh, well, sometimes it goes a lot easier than expected. In this case, it really wasn't torqued on all that tight. So here's what the fill plug looks like. Note that on a lot of these cars, they have a tag here indicating what kind of oil you need. So 80W90 in this case. So we'll wipe this plug clean, and then we'll work on draining the differential oil down below. This is the bottom of the differential housing, and right here you'll see a little drain plug with a 1/4 inch square drive. So just use a 1/4 inch ratchet to loosen that drain plug into, which then allows you to drain fluid into the pan. So these are generally not tight at all either, but you always want to take the fill plug off first, to make sure you have a way of filling the differential housing. So I'll get my drain pan aligned here and pull this plug off the rest of the way, and we'll let this drain out. Might take a few minutes. As you can see here, I cleaned the threads on the wire wheel and got the threads clean. So the next step would be to coat the threads with a light coating of this thread sealant. And then we'll thread this back in and tighten it down so that we can proceed with filling the differential. This is just a pipe plug, so you don't want to crank this down until it stops. You just want to tighten it until you feel a little bit of resistance. There is a torque spec that I will list in the video description, but really I'm just choked down on this small 1/4 inch drive ratchet and just using wrist pressure. And as soon as I feel a little bit of pressure on my wrist, I stop. So this is probably the hardest part of this whole job, is trying to get the fluid into the differential. So this is the setup that I tend to use. It's a little pump that screws on to pretty much any type of gear oil bottle, and a length of 1/4 inch ID clear tubing that you get from the hardware store. As you can see, I've got the Fram 80W90. This is just what was available locally. Fram's not a sponsor. Basically, I'll just run this hose into the differential and just start pumping away until it spills out of the fill hole. So hopefully, as you can see, this is more or less how I have it set up. We've got it going into the fill hole, and the bottle's over here, and I'll just pump it from the wheel well until it runs out of the fill hole. All right, so the trusty old pump that I've had for years finally decided to kick the bucket. So I just use a different style of pump that I've got here in the shop. The parts stores are closed, unfortunately, so I'll be using this to hopefully pump the fluid into the differential housing. Okay, this one's actually pumping. So the idea is you just want to pump slow until the fluid flows out. I've got the jack and jack stand set up so that the vehicle is still level, so that we get an accurate fluid level on this differential. See there, it just started to dribble. So as you can see there, we got pretty steady flow. So what I'll do is I'll pull everything out and put the fill plug back in. So just get a rag and wipe off our mess. If I can reach in there. So same thing with this plug with a pipe dope on it. Let's see if I can get this in here now. You always start it by hand. I'm probably making this look a little more difficult than it really is. It's just a pipe plug, so we don't want to go ridiculously tight on it. Basically all I could give it was just a wrist. And choked up on this 1/2-inch drive ratchet. And that's all we need. So we'll go ahead and clean up. Hit this area with brake clean. Get rid of our mess. And put the wheel back on. So this thing is only set on the automatic position, so I'm not cranking them down just yet. Torque the wheels to 98 foot-pounds. All right, so you guys seem to like the bonus footage. This is what came out. Seen worse. So what we used here was about a quart of this stuff. I had to use 2 separate bottles because the pump I was using couldn't suck from the very bottom of the bottle, so I had to kind of split it between 2. But after pouring both bottles into one, we have almost a full quart here, so the vehicle took a quart. I hope you liked this video and my tips to keep Grandpa's Dodge Intrepid alive series. Stay tuned to my channel for more videos like this. As always, thanks and have a great day.